Welcome back to Annie Recapped. Today we will cover Yuna and the haunted hot springs. Hope you enjoy. The show begins with a young white-haired girl with teary eyes reaching out her hands to a young male. As he approaches her with his hands, she fades away like a pale cloud withering away in a gentle breeze. The young guy enters a town, exclaiming excitedly that he has arrived at the Yukumiri Hot Springs town. Meanwhile, an old couple complains about seeing a girl with a clean face but no eyes. The man informs them that this is the first time he has heard such a rumor, and as he turns to face them, his pale face is exactly what they had described, which freaks both out. Suddenly, Kagurashi Fuyuzura, the young guy, enters and knocks the mischievous spirit out. The young guy is revealed to be a hands-on psychic, and the mischievous and classical creatures are known as Munji. The couple praises him for his aid, and he asks for directions to the Yuraji Inn in exchange. When they express their dismay, he responds that he is aware that the inn is haunted, and that he has come to exorcise the spirit. Later, when he enters the hot bath, he imagines how he will overcome the ghosts and everything. Suddenly, he hears footsteps confirming the presence of Yuraji's spirit. As the smoke clears, he notices a naked young girl with scarlet eyes. He shouts when he sees her nude. She went into the bath since she thought he couldn't see her. However, now that her disguise has been revealed, she starts hurling items at him out of embarrassment. When she realizes she has accidentally knocked him unconscious, she rushes to inquire whether he is all right. Kagurashi, on the other hand, believes that the only way he can banish a spirit is with his fists. However, since it is a female this time, he lacks the fortitude to carry out his duties and passes out. Later, when he awakens in a room, he finds himself in the lap of a maid, Chitose, who discloses that he is the innkeeper. Nankora Habaki, another female, bursts into the room and invites him to have a drink with him. As she begins to speak to him, the only thing on his mind is her attire as she attracts him, ahem, with her voluptuous bosoms and her thighs. A kunai goes through right close to his face, injuring him slightly. Sagiri Ameno, a young wild girl, enters the room and tells him not to break the serenity at the inn for his protection, or he will suffer severe punishment. Yaya Fushiguru, a cat girl, then comes out of his blanket and licks him on the face to treat his wound. As things settle down, they question his room number, and when he answers that he has been given room number 4, everyone bids him farewell and wishes him luck. As he walks to his room, he is perplexed about what the females must have meant. As he enters his room, he notices a butt in the wall, which freaks him out. He then starts dragging it outside, and the white-haired girl from before reappears. She admits she was just hiding from him and apologizes for scaring him. She then confesses that she is the spirit that has been bound to this room, and her name is Yuna Yumohana. When she asks him, a psychic, how she seems to him, he responds precisely as she appears, startling her. Because regular people can only see a white ghost, she assumed you wouldn't be able to see her, which is why she entered the water earlier, further embarrassing herself. As Kagurashi wonders how he might expel such a ghost, she tells him that she has no intention of torturing or cursing him, and that she is only a lovely, harmless spirit connected to the inn. Hearing this, he becomes flustered, pondering how to banish such a kind and friendly spirit. Later, when Kagurashi prepares to sleep, she starts folding out the futons, revealing that since she can't sleep anywhere else, the two will share the room. She admits that she can touch whatever she wants since she has been a ghost for far too long. Kagurashi is once again dictated by his thoughts of appreciating her body figures, and he assures himself that no matter how she appears, she is still a ghost. Later, unable to sleep, Yuna inquires about his purpose for visiting the inn, to which he responds that spirits have influenced him since he was a child. A trading ghost once took over his consciousness, causing a significant loss to his family's business and making him homeless. She is sorry for bothering him and apologizes for her query. Kagurashi then asks Yuna whether she has any lingering regrets. He is concerned because he has heard that spirits that live for an inordinate amount of time ultimately become evil. As she hears this, she asks him if he is concerned about her, which flusters him. When a mouse leaps out of the ceiling and lands near her, she panics and her poltergeist abilities become uncontrollable. Kagurashi then falls on top of her, catching sight of her breast, and she humiliatingly kicks him out of the room. The following day, he gets a part-time job in town, and while he considers ascending the spirits to heaven, he detects a monk entering the inn. Yuna ponders that Kagurashi was the first person to question her about the lingering sorrow when she's accosted by the monk, who violently attempts to ascend her to heaven. Outside the room, Kagurashi considers if it would be preferable for her to be exorcised so that she would not have to become evil. When she expresses her desire to live a little longer and learn more about him, he protects her, and she thanks him for ending up at the inn. Nonetheless, as he prepares to confront the monk, he inadvertently places his palm on her boobs, leading her to unleash her power embarrassingly. Meanwhile, the girls are having a bath in the spring when Kagurashi emerges from the sky and enrages everyone. Although Yuna comes to his defense, she makes matters worse for him, leading him to believe that it would have been better if she had been exorcised. As Kogarashi wakes up one morning, he awakens to see Yuna clinging to him and both of them floating in the air. When he wakes her up, she loses her magical balance and the two fall. Later at the inn, Sagiri asks Yuna whether he has done anything unusual to her. She responds, nothing, with a panicked expression, embarrassed to acknowledge that the two were already in awkward positions a few times and everyone begins to suspect something. Chitos bursts in, telling them that breakfast will be served shortly and reminding Kogarashi that if he doesn't pay for the meals precisely in 1 month, he will have to pack his baggage. Yaya, who is sleeping beneath the table, suddenly appears and Kogarashi is taken aback by the fact that she has a tail and is a cat girl. He inquires about their identities since they aren't all ghosts. It is cut short, though, when they hear a loud disturbance outside the inn. A large group of monks appears outside, vowing to eliminate the spirits at the inn. Enraged at them for disrupting their serenity, Sagiri confronts them and immediately employs her ninja skills, revealing herself to be a demon slayer ninja. Nanko, on the other hand, sprouts a horn on her forehead while defeating the foes, displaying herself as an ogre. Yaya also appears while riding on a massive cat deity. However, when they declare that they will return with a larger number, Chitos intervenes and employs her powers. Suddenly, everyone receives a phone call notifying them of something extraordinary. While their leader chastises them for changing their minds too quickly, he receives a phone call from his daughter, alerting him that she is returning home and that he should stop being a monk. When no purpose exists to exorcise ghosts, everyone thanks Chitos and departs. Yuna confesses to Kogarashi that she has been here for a long time and is the deity that can manipulate luck. Kogarashi is overjoyed because he believes she will be able to help him. However, he is cautioned that it uses a person's lifelong chance, which might lead to something harmful in the future. The following day, Kogarashi finds himself in another embarrassing situation, and when Yuna loses control of her ability, Sagiri assumes he did something again. After that, he spots a green cat at the inn and begins petting it, but Yuna cautions him and ignores her. It abruptly shifts to Yaya, who complains to Sagiri that he touched her, again making him a victim. Later, he is told that an eviction letter has been issued against him, and they will have to resolve it with a ping-pong match with Yaya and Sagiri on one side and Yuna and Kogarashi on the other. As they begin to play, Kogarashi scores an early point, revealing that he used to compete in national ping-pong tournaments. Given their disadvantage, Sagiri employs her cloning technique and starts playing with dozens of her own. They get an advantage thanks to Yuna's talent, but is short-lived since her ability no longer works. Unable to think of anything more humiliating, Yuna invites Kogarashi to peek at her underwear, which will embarrass her, ultimately resulting in their victory. Following their game, when Kogarashi approaches to assist Sagiri and Yaya, his foot slips, and he ends up squeezing their boobs, causing even more commotion at the inn. Yuna awakens to find Kogarashi nowhere to be seen. Due to a misunderstanding, she believes that he left the inn because she keeps doing weird things to him. On the other hand, Chitos informs her that he is attending his high school's opening ceremony. Along with Kogarashi, Yuna departs to see the school. Later, since no one can see her in class, Yuna examines the skirt of the class's most attractive girl, Chizaki Miyazaki. However, when Kogarashi attempts to stop her, everyone believes he lifted Chizaki's skirt. Following that, Yuna's poltergeist abilities break out of her control, creating a commotion in their class and culminating in a lengthy scolding from their instructor. During the class introduction, Kogarashi states that he is a psychic and that the event occurred due to him, but everyone interprets this as a joke. After the class, he's approached by Chizaki, who asks for help. Outside, she tells him that one night while having a bath, she saw something in the tub, and the next night, the stuffed animals in her home started moving on their own. He agrees to her request, and they go to her house. Chizaki is embarrassed since this is her first time allowing a guy into her room, and she continuously imagines what she would do if he did anything to her. On the other hand, the plush toy moves unexpectedly, freaking Yuna out and prompting her to activate her poltergeist. As a result, Kogarashi ends up on top of Chizaki, leading him to be kicked out of her room. Later that night, when Chizaki walks into her room, she notices the stuffed animals moving and Kogarashi rushes to her rescue. Kogarashi explains to Yuna in a flashback that they would find the culprit by following the spirit thread. They eventually discover the thread is linked to a cloaked figure who summons a giant but feeble monster. Shigaraki Koyuzu, a 10-year-old Tanduka girl jealous of Chizaki's breasts, is revealed to be the culprit following their battle. Kogarashi assists the girl with her move to Yuraji Inn. The following day, as he and Yuna walk towards school, they are approached by Chizaki, who offers him some cookies as a thank you for assisting her. Kogarashi describes it as the nicest present ever since he has been broken for so long that he couldn't purchase any snacks. Sagiri is a Chuma Ninja Army member who works at night to exterminate evil yokai. She is tasked with eliminating a yukai that exclusively targets couples. At school, Kogarashi notices Sagiri and wonders what she is doing there. He is taken aback when Yuna informs him that she too is a student. Then she approaches him and asks him to meet her on the roof. There she asks Kogarashi to accompany her on her mission to protect the girls. Because the yukai produces smoke, which destroys fiber, Sagiri gives him spare clothes, and the two go to the park where the attacks have been reported. At first notice no sign of a yukai, but when Kogarashi advises her that they should act more like a couple and begins walking hand in hand, a monster strikes. A layer of smoke surrounds the two, and Sagiri moves out to see where the enemy is. Kogarashi, on the other hand, clears the smoke and a giant spider appears, allowing Sagiri to deliver the decisive blow. The following day, the residents of Uraji Inn learn that Chitose is departing for a meeting at the Association of Hot Springs for a few days. So everyone agrees to take turns cooking dinner, but everyone fails except Kogarashi, who was trained to prepare grilled fish by a possessed ghost. Yaya follows Kogarashi everywhere after eating his fish, even to his bath. After being beaten by her once, he discovers that she craves grilled fish, so he prepares some and brings it to her, but she feeds it to her cat god and claims that she wants her god to enjoy the fish. Kogarashi is amazed by her devotion to the deity and promises to cook her grilled fish anytime she requests it. Yaya has since occasionally followed Kogarashi. Shizeki approaches Kogarashi and asks Yuna if she wants to take a photo with her since she is curious about her. Yuna, on the other hand, displays her displeasure by shooting pictures. With no other choice, Kogarashi suggests that they communicate by writing notes to one another. Shizaki and Yuna continue to converse in class. Shizaki inquires regarding her residence, and Yuna responds that she and Kogarashi live together. Hearing this, Chisako becomes flustered because she feels they would be much closer if they are roommates, and she raises a ruckus. The instructor reprimands her and assigns her to organize the materials as punishment after class. Later, Yuna assists Shizaki, and in gratitude, Shizaki takes off her school clothes so Yuna may examine them. They are discovered in an awkward situation when Kogarashi enters the room. They all proceed to the school roof where Yuna displays her school outfit. Yuna then snaps a photo with her at Shizaki's request, and she appears as a white spirit in it. When they arrive home, Kogarashi discovers a girl, Ru Hanashima, who seems to be calling Nanko sensei, which surprises Kogarashi. When he inquires about her profession, he discovers that Nanko is a mangaka and has a deadline looming. He resolves to assist her in finishing her manga since she desperately needs assistance. Later, she admits she wasn't particularly good at combating yukais and chooses to change her professional path. However, she found most of them boring, and after taking up painting, she began to enjoy it. Kogarashi discovers that despite being a drinker, she never drank while working. But when she finishes her job and presents it to her editor, Ru Hanashima, she begins drinking again and strips naked, creating yet another commotion at the inn. After Kogarashi and Yuna had left for school, Chitose slipped out of the house. She doesn't want anybody to know she's heading to middle school. Descending the stairs, she notices Kogarashi and Yuna, who had returned since Kogarashi forgot his gym attire. She uses her abilities to avoid being noticed by others, but she suffers a setback when a dog pursues her. When she gets to school, she spends time with her friends and then goes out with them after school. As they prepare for lunch, 3 delinquents attempt to assault her and her companions, but she utilizes her ability and Kogarashi arrives to defend them. She kind of disguises herself from Kogarashi and returns to her role as the innkeeper, welcoming Kogarashi home. The next day, Kogarashi asks Yuna whether she wants to do anything to get rid of her lingering regret. But Yuna has no recollection of anything, so Chitose arranges for them to meet in the recently opened hot spring Unival. When he is questioned about who the other person is since the ticket is for 2 people, he embarrassingly discloses that he is with a ghost and everyone believes he's kidding. Later on, the two are unable to spend their date as a couple since Yuma is a ghost, and they cannot try the things that are only available to couples. Kogarashi attempts to make her fulfill her regret, but in vain. After sliding together, he passes out and wakes up in the waiting room. Then he and Yuna have a bath together, during which Yuna advises him not to try too hard and that she would want to come back, but on a proper date. Will Kogarashi help Yuna fulfill her lingering regret? What do you guys think? Find out in the next video. For now, thank you for watching. Bye.